had no chance. You.
What are you?
I'm Triss.
You're.
You're throughout the entire. You talk. Yet. You've. As you. Torturer.
The Philippa Eilhart problem has been resolved. We must return to camp.
Wait here, Excellency. We'll scout ahead. Intruder! Get him! Long live the Emperor!
You're not easy to find.
Look what they did to me. Radovid. To think I taught him magic tricks when he was just a boy. Free me, Geralt. I have to get out of here. Do you hear me? Help me!
You'll answer a few questions first. Where's Saskia?
When I was arrested, she was with Sheila. They must be on their way to the deliberations by now.
How does the spell work?
Saskia's will and mine are one. She cannot resist me. But fear not. There's no suffering involved. She merely believes me to be the most wonderful person in the world. As if she were in love. You know what's most beautiful? In spite of all this, she seems unchanged. She's retained her charm, her valor, her honor.
I didn't track you alone. Iorveth can't wait to see you again.
My death would change little. Iorveth and all like him have no right to judge others.
Was Shillard telling the truth about the Lodge, the assassinations?
He said exactly what Radovid wanted to hear. Half-truths, musings stripped of context, which differ very little from lies.
Did Triss take part in all this?
She's clean in those terms. Innocent as a child, but only to a point. I assure you, she has not been honest with you about many other matters.
Why did all this happen? Murdering monarchs, what interests did it serve? I can't fathom.
Help me get out of here and I'll explain all and lift the spell from Saskia. Take these shackles off me and lead me to my house. I beg you. I'll tell you everything. Everything.
Clock's ticking. Time is of the essence.
Why do you do this? Would you take vengeance on a blind woman?
Shillard said they've got Triss. I have to free her before they put out her eyes too.
Going to the Nilfgaardian camp is suicide.
And leaving a friend is villainy.
Only I know how to break the spell that holds Saskia. Get me out of here. If I die, she'll remain forever spellbound.
Saskia will remain an enslaved monster through your wickedness. You deserve to die.
Even if you reach Triss, you will not free her.
Sure I will. I'll trade Shillard for her.
And what will Iorveth say when he learns you abandoned Saskia?
You worry about what he'll do to you. I doubt he'll see your blindness as sufficient punishment.
Do you think Merigold's innocent?
You have no right to judge her. Goodbye, Eilhart. Move your ass, Excellency.
This is preposterous. What do you aim to achieve?
I want to see Triss. How did you get in here?
Put that sword down.
Only after I cut your throat. The choice is yours.
I know of a tunnel.
Then you can be my guide.
the tunnel to the left.
You make an exceptional guide. Go. One false move and your ambassador will never see Nilfgaard's son again.
My men won't let you leave here alive.
They will if you ask them to, Excellency, and I believe you will.
Reynold Ep Madsen's orders come from the Emperor himself. He'd rather die than give you Merigold.
Then he'll die.
No, mark my words. You will. Unless you release me, it's not too late.
You're boring me. Pick up the pace.
Why do you care for that sauce?
Out of the way, all of you, or the old man dies.
Hold there!
I'm not joking.
I know. And I advise you not to hesitate. Kill him. For we shan't move one bit.
Reinwald!
He who brings me the Witcher's head will get the Order of Merit.
But Ambassador Fitzestelan...
Your Excellency. Orders from the capital.
Now I'll have to kill you all.
What are you waiting for? Get him!
Alright, this is the finale of the Where is Triss Merigold questline. Obviously, as you saw in the beginning, you choose this during your talk with Philippa Eilhart in the Redanian makeshift prison. And this is a really long section of combat. Excuse me. You fight a lot of enemies.
Long live the Emperor!
And you don't have a lot of breaks in between. In fact, I'm not even sure there's a checkpoint in this. I actually do think there is a checkpoint somewhere. I completely forget where. But this quest line, I did not follow through on my final save during the epilogue. I went and tried to free Saskia from Philippa's spell, being the Spellbreaker quest. Just like in Roach's Path, I decided to, on my final save file, the choice would reflect that I followed Roach instead of finding Triss again. There is a reason for that in the story where you kind of find out it doesn't ultimately matter if you've saved Triss or not, actually. Either way, this is a long section of combat, and it I guess by long section I mean there's only like 6 more minutes of combat. Everything else actually is just talking with Triss. But it can definitely feel like a lot if you have to do it a couple of times. I do say that because I have died a bunch of times on this part, actually. You take a lot of damage on dark mode. So here I'm taking a swallow and a rook potion to passively heal myself, as well as increase my damage by 10%, which is the rook potion. So when you jump down to this pit, you're going to fight a lot of Nilfgaardian soldiers. And then after you get out of the pit, you're going to fight more Nilfgaardian soldiers. And then you get to talk to Triss. And actually free her. So, if you played Roach's section of the story again, or even if you're playing this version and you wonder what it's like if you take Roach's path, the Where's Triss Merigold questline is actually exactly the same, except with Iorveth's path you take Shillard Fitzestelan as a hostage during your little talk with Philippa in the Redanian jail. As opposed to if you take Roach's path, Geralt just kind of finds Shillard in the streets right outside the Nilfgaardian camp and just kind of hits him in the back and just grabs him and just walks right in. So this part's exactly the same. I guess the main difference, at least if you watch the videos, is that my art has the freezing effect, which I got when I tried to enter the city through Iorveth's path. I really do like that freezing effect on the enemies. Because if they freeze solid, you can shatter them with a single hit. And even if you don't, they slow down a whole lot. So gives you time to dodge out of the way much easier. And other things of that nature. Okay, so that save was me. That wasn't a checkpoint. That was in case I died. I didn't want to redo that fight again, so I could just load up in the middle and just edit the video together so it looks a little bit nicer, like it doesn't show the game over screen and the loading back in part. So now we're fighting the Nilfgaardian military officer. I can only assume. I don't even remember this character has a name. But he's the one that kills Shillard with the crossbow in that earlier cutscene. I don't even know why I brought that up. I mean, people would have just seen it. Either way, Geralt and this guy are talking, and then he points out, like any good bad guy, that he was just distracting you, buying time until reinforcements arrive. So then you have to kill the reinforcements. Now, with this part, if you have your adrenaline finisher fully maxed out at this point, by maxed out I mean just the ability, sorry, to use it as opposed to maxing out in the various talent trees, is really helpful because there's a lot of guys, and as soon as this cutscene ends, I'm going to be hit with a crossbow bolt. And I never took the dodge arrows ability. Also, you can't not dodge arrows, the block arrows, and you can't block them if you don't have your sword drawn anyways. And you draw your sword at the beginning.
Surround him.
So I went down the swordsman path, and that adrenaline finisher is actually kill 3 enemies. Unfortunately, I only get the one here with the wizard, but that's still really handy. Using the adrenaline finisher to take anyone out of the equation in this fight makes it way better. As well, if you don't have the ability to block arrows, what I would suggest is ignore the two-handed sword enemies and the wizard and just roll at the arbalists. Those are the guys with the crossbows. Now if you do that, their AI kind of dictates if they get up close they need to pull out their sword and try to fight you in melee combat, which makes sense. But they are slow enough that you can almost kill them just by doing that, and you just roll into them, hit them once or twice, and then roll towards the next one, and you keep doing that until all the arbalists are dead. I really hope Arbalest is the right term for a guy with a crossbow, because I've been saying that way too much. Arbalest. Yes, one who shoots a crossbow. Thank you, Wikipedia. Okay, so I was using that term correctly this whole time. Thank God.
Emperor, I failed you.
expect to see me?
Are you kidding? The only person you expect to see in a Nilfgaardian dungeon is the executioner.
Did they torture you?
They tried various things, but they got nothing from me.
I traveled half the world to find you.
I know it was hard on you. I'll never forget this, you hear? Never.
I'd slaughter half the Nilfgaardian army for a friend. I know you're a member of the Lodge, Triss.
How do you know of the Lodge?
Does it matter? I also know the Lodge was behind Demavend's assassination.
Geralt,
I trust you.
True. I'm a member of the Lodge. Just like 8 other sorceresses. But if you think I'm responsible for the Lodge's actions, you're badly mistaken. The Lodge is a theater for 2 actresses. Sheila and Philippa have long dominated it.
To the point where you didn't know about the murder they planned?
To the point where I was no longer invited to gatherings.
Why?
They stopped trusting me.
Because you didn't agree with them?
9 women very rarely agree on anything. The actual problem was that...
Tell me.
I was close to you. If Sheila fears anyone, it's Geralt of Rivia. The Lodge did everything to convince me that our relationship didn't bother them, even that it suited them. But they manipulated me. Through me, they fed you select information. Depending on the circumstances, they twisted facts.
We're still close. They could still be doing it.
Don't insult me.
Calm down, Triss. Reynold Ep Matson claimed otherwise, but I'll always take your word over that of some Nilfgaardian lowlifes. Now, you'll tell me everything you know. I need to learn the truth.
All existing councils of mages disintegrated after the Thaned massacre. We all acted separately. Philippa decided to create a new organization, a secret one this time. When I was sworn in, it never crossed my mind that the Lodge's plans would soon become secret to its members. As you know, Philippa's not one for minor undertakings. She presented a plan for creating a powerful state controlled by sorceresses.
The best laid schemes of mages and men.
Philippa and Sheila never lacked ideas or enthusiasm. To control a powerful state, they needed to create one first. Or find a wealthy land with a suitable political arrangement and an easily manipulated ruler. Sheila chose the Pontar Valley, Demavend, and Stennis.
Demavend hated mages.
No more than Henselt or Radovid. Sheila and Philippa saw Demavend as the weakest ruler. His son, Stennis, blows hot and cold. Plus, he who controls the Pontar Valley controls the north. So it was in Edirn that a popular rebel emerged, preaching the idea of a new state. At one of our meetings, I just asked how they imagined overthrowing Demavend. That was the last time I was invited. After Demavend's death, I became suspicious, but had no evidence. Philippa brushed me off. When you went off to meet Iorveth and Sheila was busy with the Karen's carcass, I managed to scan parts of her megascope. That's when I learned that Sheila had dealings with Letho.
If only I'd learned that, everything could have been different.
Letho must have shadowed me when I entered Sheila's room. Then he forced me to teleport us to somewhere near Vergen.
Did you talk to him?
He wasn't aggressive. In Vergen, he told me that Sheila commissioned them to assassinate Demavend. Them being the Witchers of the School of the Viper. Sheila helped them prepare the assassination.
I wonder why he told you about it.
Is that important?
Conspirators who suddenly divulge everything. I'd be suspicious.
There was some interference as we teleported to Edirn. I emerged intact, but pretty battered.
I met the troll who fell in love with you.
He saved me, tended to my wounds. But when he started treating me like a caged canary, I fled. I knew Philippa was in the area. I decided to go see her and lay my cards on the table.
Maybe Letho wanted just that.
I met a woman at Philippa's house. Thought she was just a servant or Philippa's lover. Before I could speak, I was overpowered by spells. I hardly expected an attack. The pain I felt as my body was compressed. It's indescribable. As if all my bones were being broken. It's even worse when you return to your true form. In any case, Philippa had no idea her lover was a Nilfgaardian spy. I was carried as that figurine all the way to Loch Muin. Asira decompressed me back just before they murdered her. Shillard interrogated me but learned nothing. If it wasn't for you, they'd have had me quartered. I didn't piece the puzzle together until I was here, in the dungeon. Now you know everything.
Ever find out what Sheila was actually doing in Flotsam? I find it hard to believe she went there just to kill a monster and earn a few orans.
You're right, of course. It had something to do with Letho and the Scoia'tael.
What did she want from Iorveth?
The Scoia'tael were Saskia's trump card. I expect Sheila needed to know what the elves would do, given that a war with Hensel was practically inevitable.
Who had Foltest assassinated?
I have no idea. Perhaps after Demavend's successful assassination, Sheila and Philippa decided to take the next step.
That would be stupid. Killing Demavend was a way to take control of the Pontar Valley. People would forget the regicide in a year, and the Lodge could put its plan in motion. They had to know that if Foltest died, men like Roach wouldn't rest until they learned why that had happened.
One thing is certain. Letho killed Foltest, and Sheila was working with Letho.
Did Saskia know the Lodge's plans?
She didn't even know the Lodge existed. Philippa told her that the sorceresses would support an independent state in the Pontar Valley, no strings attached. A fairy tale, but Saskia bought it. Saskia backed Philippa, and the people backed Saskia.
Philippa controlled Saskia with her spells.
Figures. The woman's a control freak.
She miscalculated by coming to Loch Muin. Radovid had her imprisoned and then blinded.
That's impossible.
I was there. That'll have to do for now.
We'll learn more at the talks.
You're going to attend?
You have no memory of how the world worked before the Thanid massacre.
Actually, I know exactly how it worked.
That means...
We'll talk about my memory later.
All right. If the Council and Conclave still existed, kings wouldn't be assassinated and massacres would be less frequent. This is our chance to restore these institutions, and we shouldn't miss it. Normalizing relations between the rulers and the mages who advise them is our only chance for peace.
And our only chance to dismantle the Lodge.
The Lodge will disintegrate anyway. Once the kings learn it was behind the assassinations, they'll start a witch hunt. We can prevent that from happening. I'm all for punishing the guilty, but can't abide collective responsibility. I'm ready to go and reveal everything I know about Philippa Eilhart, Sheila de Tanserville, and their schemes.
Let's go then.
Those Nilfgaardians, that's your work?
They followed their leader too blindly.
You killed them all?
They didn't slaughter themselves.
We shouldn't arrive at the same time. Let's split up.
Triss.
Yes?
That was some mess. I wouldn't want to see you hurt like that again.
Don't worry, I'll manage. See you at the talks.
All right.